Okay, lesson number 5 is upon us, and in this lesson we will be talking about using phpMyAdmin to control our databases, our MySQL databases. This is where all of our information will be stored for our blog, where it can be dynamically drawn onto the site. Um, we'll also be connecting to our database in Dreamweaver, so you will need Dreamweaver in this lesson because we'll be using it a lot to handle a lot of the PHP stuff. I've been using Espresso, but it doesn't handle PHP like Dreamweaver does. So you'll notice over here I've actually written up all the tables and information that I'm going to need. It's a good idea to write this down ahead of time because you're going to need to have a plan of how this is all going to work. So I've kind of gone through and already written up my plan of all the information that we're going to need to store under each table, which these are tables within a master database. So go ahead and open up your MAMP or WAMP and click Open Start Page. From there, navigate to the phpMyAdmin tab, and let's create a new database. You can name it whatever you want, but I'm going to name mine SS Blog. The default settings should be okay on your computer, just pretty general. It's usually what you need. So just click Create, and now we have a new database, but there's nothing in it yet, so we need to create some tables. The first table that we need is going to be blog, and this is going to be the article information that's inserted onto each page. And it wants to know how many fields we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fields. So click Go, and there's our 8 fields. We need an ID field. I have these all written down here on the right. Author field. We need a date field. We need a title field. Details, which actually I'm going to name this subtitle. Makes more sense to me. An article will be our actual entry. Video, which will be our video code. And finally, we need source, which you may not need. Source is what I'll be using to post source code. So now we need to go through here and give it some properties. Let's go ahead and let's just use int and set it to a length of 11. So that'll give us a lot of blogs to work with, up to 11. Primary key, auto incrementing. And that's all we need to select. You can choose some of these other things. These let you choose if you want a timestamp or if it can be null or not. But I'm not going to go into those too much because I continually run along with these videos. Author, varchar, which is a variable, characters, numbers, whatever, and 100 characters should be enough, and that's all we have to set for that. Date is a little different. We need to do a timestamp because we need it to actually keep the time that it was posted. And then in here, current timestamp. That's all we need to do for that. For title, varchar will be adequate. We'll do 200 characters. Subtitles, identical. Varchar, 200 characters. Article, this is different. We need long text. This will let the user write as long as they want to. For video, let's do varchar. Let's do 800 characters. Some of those video embed codes can be pretty long. Let's do this. Let's do 200 characters. Who knows how long that link will end up being. 200 characters should be adequate though. When you're done and you filled all this out, you just click Save. And voila, we've created this table for this database and it's located here now. So click on the database again and let's create another table. Let's do, I have it named Details over here, but I'm going to change it to Admin. I think that's a better name for it. And it looks like I have 5 fields for it. Let go. Let's do an ID. And we can do tinynt this time. This will give 4 characters. I think that's more than enough. We won't need too many IDs, especially since we'll just be changing the exact same. We'll only need 1, I believe. We can leave all this the same. Index, primary. The reason we set the index to primary is to say that, and we auto increment it, it's so that we don't have any rows that duplicate themselves. So we'll always have 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll auto increment and they'll always be unique. And the primary says that this regulates, like we can use the primary key to pull specific rows out of the table on our website. You'll understand more how that works as we start using that. We'll need a title. Let's site title. I think title's okay for that. I'll know what that is. Logo, which will be our logo image. Meta, which will be our site description. And analytics, which will be Google Analytics if the user wants to track their website. For the title, let's do, what do I have over there? Varchar, which it's on, 200. And for the logo, let's do 200 again. It says 150, but it's a link and it could be long. The meta, we don't know how long their site description is going to be, so we will do long text. And the analytics, let's do long text too, because some people do they want some special analytics that can be really long. So that's all there is for that table. Click Save. And we'll create our second table. We have one more table to create. Click on our blog name. Name this one Users. Number of fields, 3. Let's go ahead and use tinyInt again. ID, username, and password. Now, this is pretty easy. We need to go ahead and primary key, auto-indexing, and then for username, let's just limit it to 25 characters. That's the longest. That's a long username. So 25 characters should be okay. And for password, let's do 50. Now, most people don't have 50 character passwords, but we're going to be encrypting this, and the encryption will lengthen the password significantly. It shouldn't go over 50, but that's so you can kind of see how that works. Go ahead and click Save. And there we go. We have 3 tables. Now, if you ever needed to add or edit any of these, let's click on blog because it's a big one. The arrow will actually allow you to change it. The X will drop that row. Here you can set primary, unique. If you roll over it, it shows you. That's just another index option. What does this do? Show structure, browse distinct values. So you can see if there's anything in it, but there's nothing in it. Some of these other things you can do, you can add new rows at the bottom here, at the end of the table, at the beginning of the table, or after a specific row, and you just choose which option you want and hit go, and then you can name it just like we did before. You can browse what's in it, but there's nothing in it. You can query the database. You can do searches here. It's kind of an easier search thing, likes, and kind of keeps you from having to write it by hand. You can insert information, which we will be using, and export your entire table or import it. And you can actually do this with the entire database too. And then there's some special operations that you can do as far as creating new tables and stuff go. And then you can set privileges for users. So we just have one user, and that's all we need. So finally, drop will delete the whole thing. If you're within a table, it will drop the table, or you can also empty the table. Dropping will delete it. Empty will just empty the information. Drop on your database will delete everything within it. So be very careful with clicking drop. You don't get a warning, it's just gone. So now that that's created, let's connect to it in Dreamweaver. So pull up Dreamweaver, make sure you're within your right site, SSVlog, and here's our files. You probably don't have this file. It's just a project file for Espresso, which I have been using in the previous lessons. Now it's easy. There's one thing that we need to do that I didn't show you last time. If you go to Site, Manage Sites, and then SSVlog, Edit. Now here within the servers, click on a localhost and click the Edit button. Down here, I didn't tell you to fill anything in, but this actually needs to point to our folder. So mine's going to localhost SSVlog because that's the folder my site is in, and you need to do that too. I actually tried this in the previous video and it didn't work, and then I re-looked and realized it wasn't in there, so I'm sure it's not in there on your guys's. So you'll need to add that little detail because it will make all the difference in the world. Okay, so just click Databases, and then click Add MySQL Connection. And this is really easy compared to how it is by hand coding it. I'm going to name this dbcon for database connection, and the server we want is localhost, and the username is root, because I told you to remember those from the MAMP page, root, and the password is root. That was in the very first lesson. And then the database we want, we can type it in, and we can hit select, and it will show us all of our databases. And we just created SSBlog. Click OK, and test it. Connection was made successfully. Click OK, and there we go. There's our connection. So that's basically all there is to it. Now we are connected to our database, and in the next lesson, we will be writing some PHP and SQL query statements to dynamically display our posts. So in the next one, we'll go ahead and we'll start adding a little bit of information to our tables, just test information, and then we'll be pulling it in Dreamweaver. So catch you guys over in lesson 6.